to the This Is Metal Show. My name is Jason J. Rock Houston, and my co-host along for the ride as usual is Tom Collier, the guitarist and principal songwriter of the band Held Hostage. And I might mention he's also the president of Fire Rock Music Entertainment. How are you doing, Tom? And our guest today is Jeremy Edge.
I'm doing great, man. I'm looking forward to interviewing Jeremy. I got a chance to check out some of his music, and it was really cool, I'll tell you. I just want to start off. You had this song, Fire Dancer.
Mm-hmm.
Love the intro, the guitar, and what a cool groove that song has. I really love groove songs. It's just, I don't know, it's just, man, it had like this blues, funk, southern rock to it. It was like, I couldn't brand it. And I love when I can't say a genre of what it is. It had such a really cool feel to it. You know?
That's cool. That's what we're kind of going for is, there's a lot of blues in it. There's a lot of hard rock. I have a huge 60s soul influence too. Alternative rock, southern rock. I grew up on southern rock. I grew up in South Carolina, so
Sure.
we grew up with Marshall Tucker Band and Blackfoot and all that blaring. So yeah.
Tom, I might mention, I sent you a couple of his songs, and going all the way back to when a lot of people like me first heard of Jeremy Edge was in the metal band Candlelight Red.
Yes.
They had a little more of a hard rock metal edge. But what I really dig, like you said, is, that's what a lot of people know Jeremy Edge from. And then the last couple of years, he's been doing the Jeremy Edge project, which is a lot more, I should say, blues oriented, and it's almost I don't know if I don't want to speak for you, Jeremy, but in a way you've kind of altered your sound, or kind of also proven that I can do more than just metal and rock. And again, it's kind of a different sound, it's a different influence, but I'm digging it.
Thank you. Of course, I've been around longer than Candlelight Red, so I've always pulled from a whole plethora of things. But when you create a band, it's very much a partnership, or should be a partnership.
Sure.
So when I actually started playing with Ryan, I was already trying to get back to standard tuning and doing more classic rock things and stuff. And he was kind of, don't get wrong, actually Ryan can sing the crap out of some southern rock and blues. He's amazing at it. But his wheelhouse, he was like, I really like singing over the drop tune guitars. I fits my registers. You go lower, I can go higher. And he's like, I like some of that. He liked a lot of that early 2000s new metal stuff, and that was in his wheelhouse. So at the time, that was what we kind of go with. So a very, very diverse palette of influences. So we had a lot of things to pull from, And
I'd imagine the last couple of years of doing the Jeremy Edge project, probably a lot of those fans that just discovering you through the Jeremy Edge project are kind of, do a search for you online, or maybe a little, oh, wow, look at what he did before. And I think it's cool too. Fans are discovering, what came before it, or just getting into the last couple of years, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's cool. If there's people that were fans of Candlelight Red checking this out and saying, well, this is kind of different, or if it's new people going like, where's this? Where did this dude come from?
It's got to be cool too. A cool, fun aspect of that is, you got your people, let's say, from Candlelight Red from before, and then you have people that just discovering now know nothing about that. Maybe discovering that music through the Jeremy Edge project.
Yeah, definitely. I think, I'm proud of what we did, and it's very cool to see that music live on. I'm constantly on like the Spotify for artists and checking out what we're doing. And it's like, we're up to like Candlelight Red's still up to like 50,000 monthly listeners, so people are still listening to the music. So that's really cool,
Yeah, I might add, Jeremy, for anybody watching this and checking this out, that it's pretty. You've got a lot of great contacts in the sense that one, I know that you share the same publicist with Michael Schenker, Judas Priest, so you're in pretty good hands, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I've got some great friends in the industry, and a couple guys that I really rely on to guide me and put me in the right direction. But it's tough out there. There's like something like 65,000 songs being uploaded every day now.
And
So
to stand out in the crowd like that, as you have, I mean, that speaks volumes. Which let's now get to your latest single. It's a collaboration. It's called "The Devil's Best Friend."
mhm.
Another great kind of blues-oriented tune that I'm just loving.
Yeah, definitely. So me and Mark, the singer for Red Light King, we've been friends ever since we toured together back when Candlelight Red and Red Light King did a couple tours and did some odd shows together and stuff. And we've always kept in touch and hung out, even in times we crossed paths and on days off, things like that. And we talked for a long time about doing something together because I always liked his songwriting and he always liked what I did. And originally I asked him, I was like, man, I'd love for you to help me write like a really cool like Americana ballad. Like he has a song called These Times Are Hard. I don't know if you heard that one. That's one definitely check out. And I'm like, dude, no doubt, this is like one of the best songs ever written in my book. Like out of top 200 songs of all time.
Wow,
I mean,
wow.
this thing's incredible. And I was like, so we started talking about what we wanted to do. And he's like, man, I'm floating some ideas. And he's like, I got this one lyric and this acoustic riff, and I checked it out. And I was like, well, that's cool. That's different, And we said, well, let's do something that's different than either one of our
Yeah, yeah.
projects. Let's do something that with fuzzy guitars and some loopy drums and some tambourine and just dry, just a totally different sound than what we would normally go for.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's what we did, made it kind of its own little thing.
Now, Tom, I sent you a song, so share your thoughts on what your first impression of the song was.
Well, I was very impressed with it. I thought it was really good. It was well written and stuff. And what I seen when I listened to your older stuff, to your newer stuff, I love what I always tell musicians when I'm bringing them along. I always say, I can tell that your music is evolving. And that's important
Yeah.
in this world. It evolves. You still got that same feel and sound, but it's evolved to something even better. And that's important when you see musicians do that. To me, anyways, it is. Especially being a president of a record label, I love when I see musicians continue to evolve with their music. And I think that's what the Jeremy Edge project is doing. To me, that's what I felt like it's a new evolution for you.
Yeah, definitely. And it's still happening. I mean, we're in the middle of recording an album right now. We're about to release a single, and it's evolved even more. And I think it's evolved even more into something that's really our own thing. I think the Saints and Souls Volume 1 and 2, we were still kind of trying to find ourselves. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that. Maybe it's more of I was trying to like express myself, saying like, this is all the cool stuff that I like that I've never gotten to play before, and there's no one to stop me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's like,
yeah, there's a definite progression to the stuff. Like Tom brought up Fire Dancer. When I first heard that, I was like, wow, what a song. But then, I heard some of the other stuff off the album. I'm like, it's different. It's not all the same. There's a progression. It's like, you look at any songwriters that really stand out. You look at stuff like Tom Petty, the Eagles, Aerosmith, Bon Jovi, stuff you hear on the radio constantly that sticks in your head. You and Tom here, one thing, you guys are both guitar players, both are great songwriters, and any musician I think worth their salt, that's where it really kind of has to come from, the heart, the soul, the songwriting. I mean, I know Tom's told me himself about his own music. I mean, that's something that he takes great pride in, is songwriting. And I think any great musician does, because that's what it's all about, is the song.
yeah, definitely. And we definitely went for that. We went for vocal hooks and vocal melodies, and also, just sort of no limits as far as like it has to be this narrow sound or whatever, because like there's stuff on the double album where we did Marie is like it's gypsy swing.
Yeah.
It's like Django Reinhardt, it's like gypsy jazz, and then we did like songs like Move On and Hell Ride.
Yeah.
It's like any moment I'm expecting Richie Blackmore to knock on my door and say, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, you're ripping me off now. Like, there's so much Deep Purple in that. Bad Times is almost like nod to Heaven and Hell era Black Sabbath. There's Cold Day in Texas is very much a traditional blues. There's just Texas Shuffle and all of that. But with this record, I feel like it's been morphing into its own hybrid mutant thing, and it's going to be tougher to kind of pick out what those influences are. There's a little more of a southern element to it, and there's a lot more, I guess you could say, songwriter songs. And like songs like Hell Ride and South of the Border, we did a lot of soloing, where me and Derek Sherenian are trading solos. We got, stuff where I've got 2 or 3 guitar solos and a harmonica. There's not so much of that in this record. It's more of, this is the song, this is the lyrics, this is the hook. It's right in your face. And it's not really trying to be commercial. It's just like, when I wrote these lyrics, I felt like these songs needed to be more direct,
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I felt.
And I got to ask you, Jeremy, like, how did you hook up with Derek Sherenian of all people? I've heard David Coverdale talk about him, describing him as a bastard son of John Lord. I mean, how did you hook up with him?
He's amazing. He does a lot of work on a lot of projects when he's not touring, and he had, I think I had sent him some of my stuff like a year prior and not got a response. And then he finally responded to me. He's like, Jeremy, like, you guys are great. He's like, let's work together. Let's do something. He's like, I'm working on a lot of projects, so send me some stuff. I'll play on it, And so I sent him 2 songs. He ripped them out in like one day. And and I was like, yep, that's perfect, man. It's killer, But obviously we can't, have Derek Sherenian full time because he's in like 5 bands, and
Yeah.
can't afford to pay him. We don't have a touring schedule like that. So
I mean, that's why it's great to even get him to come on and play on your song,
yeah, but after that, I mean, we ended up having Charlie Cav, who I already knew is keyboard player for Angel, and I was like, what are you doing when these guys aren't doing something? You want to do some gigs? And he's like, yeah. So he's been playing gigs with us, and hopefully he'll be playing some keyboards on this record as well. Our bass player plays a little keys himself, but he collects keyboard gear. He has a bunch of Hammond organ stuff. He's a basement full of it, like Leslie's torn apart. I think he has 5 Leslies. He has 2 real Hammond organs, 2 of the digital Hammond organs. It's just like, it's like John Lord's paradise down there. It's it's crazy, in addition to all the basses, crazy amount of bass gear he owns, crazy.
So of course, like I said, you and my co-host Tom, you guys are both fellow guitar players. So Tom, like when you listen to Jeremy's stuff, I was curious about, because he's a lead singer like you and a guitar player and songwriter. What do you think about his guitar stylings, his riffing? I mean, when you listen to what he does on the guitar.
He's got a really cool feel, and that's important. I mean, you can tell the tone he's got, and Ross the Boss him and I always say this: the tone is in your fingers, it's not in the guitars. And he's just got a really cool feel. When I watched that opening solo on the song Fire Dancer, when he did that, it was very easy. It was nothing crazy, but it had such a cool feel to it. I was like, wow, I actually backed it up and watched that again. I thought, I really like that style. And he has his own style, and I think that's important too.
Yeah. And I what I like about Fire Dancer is it's definitely blues influence, but yet it's got a huge kick, like a rock element for those fans. And I dare say you listen to the rest of the album, and it's a double album. Like no 2 songs sound exactly alike, and that's what I dig. I think for years people are going to be trying to figure out what exactly is and who is Jeremy Edge. What's he all about?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, that's definitely the pushback I will get of. I mean, people who are music industry folks, they want to find like a little niche to put you in.
You can't.
How do we label? How do we market you? And we've definitely experienced that a lot. We've like once people find our music, and they tend to love it, but when they're first discovering us or trying to figure out like who's this band on the bill or whatever, it's one of those things. It's hard to find our niche. We're always kind of the blues band that's entirely too loud.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you guys? You're nuts. And we're like, well, you think blues, you think, 4-piece little drums kit and a little combo amp, and they're playing very light, and no, we're like, no, we play blues like Humble Pie or Free would have played it, was Marshall Stacks and big amps and 26-inch kick drum, and that's what we do. So and it's left field of what all the rock guys are doing. All the rock guys are doing like the in-ear monitors and the guitars, which kind of sound like maybe just going, and, and, all the drums are sampled, so they all sound like drum machines, and it's like we don't fit in that thing either, with all the program music and all the slickness. It's all real.
So does that make it that much harder to book the band? Typically, do you book yourself with more blues oriented acts, or does it kind of just depends on the show?
We kind of book ourselves anywhere that will have us. Like, I mean, like we opened up for Jackal, that went great. We opened up for Pat Travers, that went great. Played some shows with Randy Hansen, that went great. We actually just played the show the other night with somebody I never heard of. It's like the Savannah Dexter and Bravo Gator. They're like a husband and wife team, and they kind of do like this country rap stuff with a DJ.
Yeah.
And we thought it was going to be a nightmare, but there was like 600 people there, and they were really into the band and loud and receptive and smiling and having a great time. And that was cool, so it's just whenever, there's people that dig music, we try to just come out and do our thing.
I mean, you even look at stuff like Stevie Ray Vaughan, that he was really heavily blues influenced, but he had a rock element, or even look at his older brother, Jimmy, from the Fabulous Thunderbirds. I mean, they had a lot of rock and blues, going on.
Yeah. I mean, Stevie Ray Vaughan is, maybe it's hard to pick a favorite. He might be my favorite guitar player of all time. He was incredible.
Yeah, I bring him up because he died, so tragically young, and yet very much like Randy Rhoads left such a legacy of music. I mean, Stevie Ray Vaughan, let's be honest, he had a few more albums than Randy Rhoads, but you especially Randy Rhoads, you look at a guy like that, 2 albums really that he left behind, and as a fan base, the legacy he does.
Yeah, I mean, it's like he said, a lot of it's in the fingers. I mean, some of it's in the gear, undeniable. Undeniably, some of it's in the gear. But with Stevie Ray Vaughan, with the way he played, if you picked up his rig, you would have been like, wow, this isn't hiding anything. I'm not getting away with nothing. And he just had that touch, and you see him constantly like move his hands toward the bridge to get twangy and nasty, or move it right over the fretboard and barely pick to get it really soft and tender sounding, or he plucked the strings to get a certain, I mean, he just had this incredible touch. He had the ear for how his fingers were making the guitar sound.
Wow.
It was just incredible.
I got to ask you, Jeremy, as far as influence go, I'm just guessing here, but I'm going to go out on a limb here. Were you at all influenced by Eric Clapton or Cream?
I was always, I grew up being a huge proponent of Steve Ray Vaughan and all of his influences, like Lonnie Mack and Albert King and Freddie King and all of that stuff. And I was always like, people would play Clapton for me, and I'm like, I like some of it, but I'm just like.
The reason I asked is because Eric Clapton, he's another guy that's kind of hard to put in a niche. I mean, he's definitely got a rock.
Here's the thing. I went back and revisited Cream and John Mayall and the Blues Breakers and all the early stuff when he played Gibsons and Marshalls, and I was just like, oh my God, this guy was on fire.
Yeah.
I mean, not that his playing now or in the 70s or 80s was bad by any means, but those 5 years or so, his playing was like from another planet. I was just like, oh, okay. Now I get it. In fact, we do a Crossroads cover. I think we post a video we did with it, and where I really kind of picked that apart and tried to do it like 70% like Clapton, and that was a challenge. Not challenge note wise, just trying to get his phrasing and his feel. I'm like, man, yeah.
He's definitely had the career, so there's no you can't say anything about the guy's talent. But I anybody I talk to, they always most people say his best work, is the Cream stuff, because when he went solo, it's a lot different from that. But as a solo artist, I guess that's what you want to do. You want to kind of
Well,
do.
yeah, I think that what happened. I mean, I feel that's that thing happening to me because I've always been sort of a shred guy, and people are like, waiting for me to put like a lot more of it on the record, and I'm like, "Ah, I just can't ruin these songs with all that. And
When
I
I think
think
about a song like Fire Dancer,
you
Jeremy,
reach
though,
that level.
when I think about like Fire Dancer, is that very thing is you're staying true to the song, staying true to its blues influence, and yeah, just a little bit of a rock edge for those fans that want that, but you're not going too far
Yeah,
astray.
I mean, could definitely feel where Clapton probably went through an era where he wasn't that worried about guitar playing. He was worried about songs and like, I've had enough of Bad Love. That was a huge hit for him. His cover of I Shot the Sheriff. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I'm a huge Bob Marley fan, and to try to emulate Bob Marley's vocal that well, I was just like, respect. I mean, because I do when I play acoustic shows and I do Redemption Song, and I think it's taken me like 5 years to learn to sing that, and I still don't sing it anywhere near as well as Bob Marley. But
But
I mean,
it fits the
that's
song.
challenging for
It
sure.
fits the songs. I mean, you may not think of yourself as a great singer, but I think they're decent sounding songs, maybe because they're written from your heart.
Yeah,
And the other thing is, Jeremy, stay true to your conviction because I'll tell you what, I think the way you write these songs, I think a few years from now, these songs are going to have staying power. People are going to be talking about these songs, 10 years from now. I'm going to throw it to Tom now because I know you must have a few questions too, Tom.
I do absolutely. So you're releasing a single, you're doing a whole album. Are you coming out on Deco Entertainment? I think you were signed to those guys. Is that who your new label? Is that who your label is going to be? Or are you doing it
yeah,
on your own?
I think so. I think we're going to go ahead and I mean, we just actually had a casual conversation about it and was like, let's yeah, think we're gonna do it again. I'm pretty sure. you know.
Yeah, no, they're good. They're good
Those
companies.
guys called me after this and be like, no, dude, we're not. yeah, but no, I think it's gonna be good. Because it's really cool because um I have the freedom to be kind of be an independent artist, but I also have a team of people making sure that people can buy the stuff online. It can reach record stores. We've shipped a lot of vinyl to Europe to great success, and I've really been surprised how that turned out. Um, and it's just really cool to have that and still have the feel of being an independent artist, and we're not, under the thumb of like a big label and that's kind of trying to take a cut of everything and tell us what to do. They're just like, you do your thing and we'll, promote your record. It's very cool.
Nice, nice. So are you doing, so like with my label, we don't take publishing rights. We make sure the artist keeps 100% of their publishing rights, but they keep both sides of it. The label doesn't even take the label side of it. We tell them,
Right.
we help them set up their own publishing companies. What are you doing for your publishing rights? You guys doing the same thing, or I'm just
Yeah.
curious?
Yeah. I pretty much do 100% publishing. I mean, previous bands I was in, we all kind of did that too, even
Yeah,
in behind days. It's just very hard to like. This is gonna be a rabbit hole discussion in the age of putting things through like TuneCore, CD Baby, and DistroKid. It's easy and hard to
Yeah.
collect publishing because when there's a label split and there's an artist split on publishing, how do you facilitate that when those DSP aggregator are ones trying to collect the money every time somebody uploads something to YouTube. So it's become kind of strange the strange world to navigate. Um, but yeah, I mean we try to do that. I mean just because it keeps things simple. And honestly, where the money is, for us, I mean, not that there's any money in it, but if we sell a couple of hundred vinyl, which we've done with every release, we've pressed, either 500 or 300 vinyl, whatever, and then they're almost all gone. Then I mean, that's where the label can recoup their money. That's where we could recoup part of our money. But you'd have to get 1 million streams to come close to that, or perhaps 1 million streams to come close to that.
So Jeremy, do you have what's projected? Like, do you think we'll get a new single and music video first, or when's the
Yeah,
projection?
actually, we're shooting a new music video, weather permitting, on June 9th.
Right.
Yeah, I think the release date for the single is probably going to be early July. Um, and that song is going to be called "The Black Sheep,"
Okay.
and it's almost the most traditional blues type thing we've ever done. It's very much inspired by like Howlin' Wolf and
Wow.
Elmore James and Muddy Waters and Ry Cooder and
You're really getting there now into the deep blues. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's funny that it's like there's it kind of evolved in this thing where I had this thing where me and my bass player will ride around and listen to Howlin' Wolf, and I can imitate him to an extent, and it's kind of like a joke, Not that his music, I love Howlin' Wolf, but it's so voice is so scratchy, and like this new song, like I sang it kind of relaxed, and I was like, it's okay, and then just for shits and giggles, I'm like, how would Wolf sing this in parts? And then I played it back, I'm like, I don't know about this, and I played it for John and a couple other people. They're like, no, you got to keep it like that because if you don't, it's boring, like,
Oh, wow,
or it's
wow.
not as exciting. So it's definitely uncharted territory for me,
Oh, wow, wow. Well,
So
Jeremy, Tom and I would like to thank you for coming on. This is Metal, and this should be going up in a couple of weeks. You're welcome back anytime. I promise, why don't we do this when the new single drops? I'll reach back out to you and we can have you come back another time and talk about what's going on then.
sounds great, man. Thank you guys for having me, and good luck for the show. And let's keep in touch.
Oh, we definitely will. Take care, Jeremy. Bye-bye.
Or take care. Bye.
Hey, Damien here. If you like today's show, please be sure to subscribe by clicking the link in the lower right-hand corner or on our page. Thanks for tuning in.